Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. I've spent a good few hours playing the new Cayo Perico Motor Wars mode that came out with the last event week, and in this video I'm going to give my thoughts and feedback on it, the things it does well, what's not so great, and everything in between. Now the weird thing about this mode is that for the first couple of rounds, I really wasn't all that impressed. In fact, I actually thought it was a pretty badly designed mode, but the more and more I played it, I actually started to enjoy it more. This one doesn't have your usual Motor Wars vehicle selection. Instead of half-tracks, night sharks, insurgents, and weaponized Tampas, you have Ghillies, APCs with both the regular and SAM turrets, insurgents, anti-aircraft trailers, barrages, and the Savage helicopter. A lot of people that have played this mode have said that the Savage is the most overpowered thing on here. Well, after playing so many rounds of this, I can tell you that is actually not the case because there are just so many counters for it on the map. For example, the anti-aircraft trailer. If you manage to get a lock on to the Savage with the trailer, those missiles are near impossible to dodge with the Savage, so it's going to die in that situation. Or you can just land on a homing launcher pickup when you spawn in, and when you're on foot, you don't appear on the map like you do when you're in a vehicle, so you can just lock onto the Savage when it doesn't even know you're there, and you will only show up when you fire the rocket, in which case the Savage isn't going to be able to react in time because it doesn't know where the lock-on is coming from, and it's going to die very fast. Or the third option is you grab a sniper rifle and snipe the tail of the Savage to take it out. In almost all of my games where the players aren't entirely brain dead, the Savages never survived past a couple of minutes. Now if you don't respect the Savage and you instead just get into a Ghillie or any other vehicle, then yeah, the Savage is going to mess you up. That's not to say the vehicles aren't entirely balanced though, because they aren't. I actually think the APC with the SAM battery is the most powerful vehicle in this mode. If you go up against a team that has that vehicle, you're probably going to lose if the Savages are dead. Most of the vehicles go down in just a few rockets in this mode, so you have no room for error really. If you get within line of sight for a second, they will just light you up with rockets and you're going to die. The other issue that I have with the choice of vehicles is the Insurgent and Barrage are pretty much useless in this mode. Let's say you're in a situation where you and another teammate are in an Insurgent with a gun, and the enemy team has an APC tank. There is nothing you can do in that situation to win. You aren't going to damage the APC tank with the machine gun, and if you even try to, the APC tank is just going to 3-shot you, so it's just a losing battle. And it's the same thing with the Barrage. Sure, it has a grenade launcher on the back, but you're not going to be able to get into range with the Barrage before a tank spots you and lights you up, because when you're in a vehicle, you're always on the map to the opponent. Only when you're on foot are you invisible until you fire your gun, which I think is kind of a flaw with the mode and allows for choke points to be held with vehicles too easily, to the point where you actually benefit more from going on foot rather than traversing in a vehicle. And I'll even prove that to you with an insane win I had on stream where it was me on foot against like 4 different vehicles, and I won because they couldn't find me and jump me in time. So I'll show that at the end of the review. I think this mode would really benefit from having more traversal vehicles on the map. I can't tell you how many times I've had to just run around on foot because there are no vehicles in sight. Some man-chest scouts scattered all over the map that don't put you on the radar when in them would make this mode a lot better in my opinion. And along with that, they could have some compact grenade launcher spawns around so you can make sneaky plays on some of the armored vehicles comboing the grenade launcher on the bike. Or another idea of a traversal vehicle would be the Patriot Mil-Spec with a lock-on jammer installed on it, so you can move around safely without a Savage or anti-air launcher locking onto you. And that one would also not give away your location when driving it because it's not a weaponized vehicle. We unfortunately don't have anything like this in gtaonline, but this mode would really benefit from having an attack boat that has lock-on anti-air missiles, kind of like a tank but on the water. They do have APCs on the water, but they're just too slow a lot of the time, so it's pretty easy to just get surrounded in them and taken out because you don't have any mobility on the water. I'm kind of surprised there's no Kurtz patrol boats spawned on the water as well. That was a vehicle that was designed for Cayo Perico in the Cayo Perico heists. It would probably be useless because it only has machine guns, but it still would have been cool to see it used for something. The Annihilator Stealth could have been an interesting counterplay to the Savage with its stealth mode also. It could have been the only weaponized vehicle where you didn't show up on the radar if you were in stealth mode. So you could use the stealth in combination with its better handling to get an edge over the Savage or some other vehicles around the map. There's a lot of different paths they could have taken with vehicles in this mode, or maybe if they wanted to get really advanced with it, they could have it to where sometimes it's a Savage that spawns in, or sometimes it's the Annihilator Stealth, so that the games feel different each time with some aspects of randomization to them. Let's talk about the map itself now and how that plays into this mode. The default setting for Cayo Perico Motor Wars is 4 teams with a max of 28 players and a minimum of 4, so clearly they designed it for 4 teams. However, I actually think this mode plays horribly with 4 teams, and much better with 2 teams. The reason for that is the map layout. Unlike other Motor Wars maps where you have different corners of the map for each team to jump to, Cayo Perico, you will often have multiple teams going for the same helicopter each time, or the same vehicle. So a lot of the time you end up dying in the first like 20 seconds of spawning in or jumping down. And the way that Cayo Perico is designed, that means that 2 teams are going to be stuck between each other, while the other 2 teams will be on the outsides of the map. And those 2 teams will have the overall advantage there. It just feels a whole lot more cluttered with 4 teams. One round, I kid you not, I just landed to get a homing launcher, and in the next 10 seconds, I had a tank on me already. Whereas with the mode set to 2 teams, it feels more like an actual war. The 2 teams have time to get ready in their vehicles on their dedicated side of the map before moving in and engaging each other. It flows a lot better with Cayo Perico's map design in general. So if you play this mode, I do highly recommend 2 teams if you don't want to get killed within 10 seconds of parachuting down. The weapon spawns and weapon selections I really don't have an issue with. There's combat MGs, sticky bombs, heavy snipers that spawn in the sniper towers, marksman rifles, homing launchers, RPGs, and I can appreciate they are using the Mark II variants of the weapons as well. My issue with the weapons is that I don't think they give enough ammo. There is a marksman rifle Mark II pickup, and you get 2 magazines, 12 rounds in total. It takes a minimum of 4 rounds to kill a full health player. And even more when you take into account that everyone in this mode has body armor. That is not a lot of ammo then. 12 rounds, that means you'd have to hit like half of your shots or more. The homing launcher spawns give you 2 rockets, and sometimes I've gotten 3, but it seems like most of the time you get 2. When the tanks take 3 missiles to take out, so just 1 spawn of homing missiles is not enough to destroy any of the armored vehicles on the map. Snipers, I think, should give at least 20 rounds instead of 12, at least for the marksman rifle. And the rocket spawns should give you 3 or 4 every time, guaranteed. The railgun, I think, should also give 3. I think right now it gives 2. But that one I'm more fine with giving less ammo because it is more of a power weapon, the railgun. There are another couple of problems with this mode though, and it doesn't have to do with the balance of the mode itself or anything, but rather some technical issues with it. Number 1, the matchmaking. I could not for the life of me find a completely random mode of this with a full lobby of 28 players. I found lobbies of like 12, 15 at times, but I never got put into a full lobby with random matchmaking. And a lot of the times, I actually ended up having to host my own when I started it from the pause menu, because it would just say no job found. How is it that we vaulted all of the other adversary modes to improve matchmaking, and yet when new modes come out, there are still issues finding full lobbies of them, especially when it's like 2 times or quad times money? Why are small lobbies not being merged into bigger lobbies when the game is over? Like, why do we have multiple 12-player lobbies instead of merging both those into a 24-player lobby? The only way I was able to achieve this mode with the max number of players is by having people joining from my stream to fill in the spots that randoms didn't join in on. And for the average player, they don't have 300 people watching to join them all the time, so they don't get to experience what the full mode is like here. And that problem just compounds into worse issues because if people don't find full matches, then they ultimately get paid less because the game's payment is based on how many people are in the lobby. And then they won't think it's worth playing because the pay is trash, or they don't have much fun playing with a small number of people in a mode made for a full lobby, so then they stop playing in general, and then that leaves even less people playing the mode, which just repeats the cycle. The other issue is that when you die, you spectate, and this is a fairly long mode, so you might be spectating a long while. Well, for some reason, this game will kick you for idling when you are spectating. Spectating is another word for watching. So why do you get kicked for simply putting your controller down and watching the rest of the match play out? You have to be making inputs on your controller even while spectating, otherwise you will get kicked. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people leave the game minutes after they died because of this issue. It's been a problem for a long time now getting kicked while spectating. I don't know if it's something they put into place to prevent AFK methods, but it's seriously super annoying in these game modes. You should not be getting kicked for spectating in modes that have 1 life, where spectating is a vital part of the mode. Overall though, I actually do think Cayo Perico Motor Wars is better than the other Motor Wars maps. The other Motor Wars maps just go on forever because of how overpowered the half-track is. It takes like 5 minutes of constant shooting to blow it up, which is super boring. At the very least, the powerful vehicles in this map will kill each other very quickly. But by no means is it perfect. I would probably give it a final score of like 6 or 7 out of 10. But let me know what you guys think about this mode down in the comments. Do you agree with the things that I've mentioned, or do you think this mode is just straight up awful and there's no redeeming it? If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more gtaonline content. I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. I'm going to leave you guys with the super clutch win I had on foot, and as always, Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Like I didn't hit him with that. Are you serious? How are you still alive? What the? Well, I'm kind of fucked with it. See, look, this is the problem. I don't have any vehicle now. So I just can't move. Should I add a single random spawned Avenger? I just want, like, give me a dirt bike so I can, like, traverse the map. Too smart for this game. There we go. Your boy is a fucking PvP god out here.